We're going to be talking today about GLP-1 drugs and semaglutide, and I'm not sure how to say this, tirzepatide.
And
What I
then,
wanted to do was talk about like the death count and the adverse reaction count as of the past 5 years, so people
Mhm.
can get an idea of, how serious it is when you're taking these types of medication.
Right.
And we both met each other by chance on
Hmm.
Facebook. I do not know your story at all.
Yes.
You really don't know much about mine either. So
Correct.
it'll be raw and real once we start talking about our stories.
Okay.
So in the UK alone, GLP-1 drugs, and this is what I'm talking about, Monjauro, Ozempic, those types of drugs that people take for either diabetes, if they have type 2 diabetes, or for weight loss. There's two types of people that take the drug. In the UK alone, there were 82 deaths linked to the drugs. Now, 60 of those were linked for use in diabetics and 22 linked to weight loss. In the US, the FDA's death count is 162 people. And that seems like a lot of people, in my opinion. But when you go into ChatGPT and you ask questions, it says, well, it's very rare because 32 million people are using it, 1 out of 8 adults. So really, the death count, the chances of you dying is 0.00081%.
Right.
Okay, well, still 162 people is a lot of people.
Right.
It's a lot of people.
Right.
In my opinion, that's a big number. And when you compare it to deaths from drugs like ephedra, 100 people died from ephedra, and they banned that.
Hmm.
So what they're trying to, their argument is that ephedra wasn't used by as many people. It was only maybe a couple million people used it. 100 people died. They banned it. Ephedra caused cardiovascular events such as strokes, heart attacks. And these deaths that are linked to GLP-1s, there's so many different types of death. But if you want to take a look at numbers, and this is for me and you,
Hmm.
there's 300,000 injuries from GLP-1s in the past 5 years. 300,000 injuries. So we're not even looking at deaths because they're saying, oh, it's okay, it's very rare, don't even worry about it. But 300,000 injuries, and that's you and I. And that's a lot of people that I've run into on the internet. So we're not
Hmm.
a small group of people. Okay, we're a large group of people, and we're trying to get our word out there, but we're blocked from getting our message out there, especially on Meta. We're on Meta right now, but
Hmm.
I will be willing to bet you that this video or any other posts that we make are going to be pretty much, I think they're called shadow banned from these platforms, because guess what? Ozempic, Wegovy, Monjaro, they're ad sponsored to Meta, and they make money from them. So anytime we put our message out there, it disappears. It's like a ghost. It just flies away, and you never see it again. Every time I open Meta, and I know this is probably you too, Facebook especially, I see commercials every single day, pushing these drugs down everyone's throats or into their bodies for brands called hers, for a compounded. It's not just Ozempic commercials anymore. It's all
Right.
of like one-off companies saying, call us now. We'll get you a prescription for $82 a month. It's
Right.
a doctor over the phone. It's like, what are you guys doing? This is crazy. Even the place where I go to get my laser hair removal, they're now doing weight loss injections. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I've already heard bad stories from the management at this place
Hmm.
saying that they stopped using it because they were so sick
Hmm.
that they couldn't handle it anymore.
Hmm.
So there's a big group of people of us, and we're trying to get our stories out there. And I want to start with yours first. I know everybody's
Okay.
already heard my story. Everybody.
Okay.
My story is a little different than yours. Mine
Hmm.
was medical malpractice. I was
Hmm.
overdosed on the drug.
Mm-hmm.
I had used a drug called glipizide. I think it was glipizide or Victoza. Victoza was something that they gave me years and years, I want to say over 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a GLP-1. I had no idea. I thought it was insulin. The doctor didn't tell me anything about it. They told me just take it.
Right.
I felt sick, but I didn't feel terribly, nauseous or anything. I felt a little nauseous, and I
Mm-hmm.
lost like, I don't know, 10 pounds at most. At
Mm-hmm.
most. And then I went off of it because I changed my diet and I didn't need it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That was fine. The doctor said, fine, don't take it anymore. But I was fine on it. I didn't have any big adverse reactions, but nobody had heard about it back then. Nobody was on it. It wasn't a big Hollywood miracle drug like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how you found out about Monjauro, and introduce yourself and talk a little
Okay.
bit about
Yeah.
yourself first.
Right. My name is Kristen Herbert. I'm 60 years old. I live in Pennsylvania. I've always had problems with my weight, always, from as far back as I remember. It's something I've struggled with for as long as I can remember, high school right on up through. So
Yeah.
I did Nutrisystem at one time, was a spokesperson for them. I lost,
Yeah.
pretty good amount of weight, but always came back. Just the cycle never ended. So when these drugs came out, I said, well, maybe this is something I could try that could help me, finally to solve this overweight problem that I've had for so long.
Yeah.
So when I went to my doctor, she had asked me a few times if I wanted to try something, and I said, let me think about it. Well, finally I said, okay, I'll try it. So she gave me Ozempic, and I had gone and had my blood taken right before I started the Ozempic, and all my numbers were great.
Yep.
So she said, I want you to take 2 doses of Ozempic and get your blood taken and come back and let's check your kidney function. Well, my kidneys tanked big time.
Oh, God.
So she said, you can't take it. I said, okay. So she took me off the Ozempic. So a couple weeks went by and I had to go back for something else. And I said, can I try it again, like just for 1 week to see because my kidney function had went back up after I stopped taking it.
Can I ask, what do you mean when kidneys tank? What do you feel when you know that that's happening?
Right. My kidney function when I went the first time was like 58.
Okay.
When I went after I took the Ozempic, it was a 14.
Okay.
It had dropped that many points within like 2 weeks. So she pulled me right off of it. She said, it's obviously affecting your kidneys.
Okay.
So she took me off of it, and I can't remember. I think I had to go and get I went and got my blood taken again. She had me go again to see if it would come back up. And it did. It rebounded. My kidney function went right back up. It was like 50 something.
Yeah.
So she was like, and I said, and I was doing good on it. Like even in those 2 weeks, I ate, but I just didn't eat as much, Sure. So I said, could we try could we try it? Could I take it for a week and see if my kidneys go back down, if that's really what did it? She said, okay, 1 week, and then go get your kidneys tested. I did that. My kidneys right back down. They were like 14, 15, something like that. She goes, okay, yeah, no. You cannot take Ozempic. You can't take it. That's obvious. We've done this little study, and you can't take it. So stopped. So a couple months later, I had to go back to the doctor, and she said, have you thought about what you want to do about, your weight loss again? We knew the Ozempic didn't work. She said, how about we try Monjauro? We could give that a try. And I said, okay, we'll try it. So she gives me 4 doses of Monjauro. She tells me to go and get my blood taken after I take the 4 doses. Okay? So I get the Monjauro. First week, not bad. Second week, not bad. Felt okay. I really didn't have much of an appetite. Not like I did on Ozempic. Like Ozempic, I wanted to eat. I just couldn't eat as much.
Okay, got it.
So Monjauro, I really didn't want to eat. Like I had to force myself, like a cracker, basically.
That's not good.
Right. So 3rd week rolls around and I'm not feeling good. Like, and first of all, and diarrhea started right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Right from the get-go. So I'm not feeling very well the 3rd week, and I'm like, and I'm like, maybe my body just has to get used to it. This is different. It's not a semi-glutide, it's a trizeptide.
Right.
Maybe something, So the 3rd week, I'm in the 3rd week, and I'm not feeling good at all. Like, not good. I'm like contemplating, do I take the next shot? Okay, well, I'm like, it's one more shot, right? Like, and then I'll go get my blood taken. So I take the 4th shot. I was so sick.
Oh my God.
Vomiting like constantly. I had to like force myself to literally drink water. Like, I did not want anything.
Yeah.
So I finally go to the emergency room the first time. Okay, this is the first emergency.
The first time. Oh my God.
Okay. So I go the first time, tell them how I'm feeling, tell them I'm not taking Monjauro, they take me in. So they come in and they tell me my kidney function is at a 3. Okay, so I have barely, that was not good. I had pancreatitis, ketoacidosis, was severely dehydrated, severely dehydrated.
Yeah, the diarrhea.
So, right, they couldn't get any blood out of me. So they had to put a central line in my chest. Like, the next thing I know, I have like 6, 7, 8 people around me. Like, I'm, and I mean, I feel so crappy, right? So I couldn't pee. Like, I hadn't peed in like 2 weeks, like a week and a half, probably, just dripping, So they have to put a catheter in. So they put the catheter in. So they put me in the intensive care unit because I was that sick. So they put me in the ICU. I'm there for like 7 days. They finally get me better to where like I'm feeling more like myself. I'm eating. I'm, feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
So they obviously tell me no more Monjauro, no more Ozempic, okay. So I come home. So 2, 3 days later, I have my transition care appointment with my physician. So I go to her. She said, you were really sick. I said, yeah, I know. It was not good. So I'm leaving the doctor's office. I get in the car. And out of the blue, I have the worst back pain you could. I mean, I was literally screaming. I get home, take a couple Tylenol. I'm like, okay, what's going on? It was so bad. Back to the emergency room I go. Go back to the emergency room. Come to find out, my pancreatitis and all of these other things did not heal, all the way. And they were reoccurring, okay? But now they're worse.
Oh my God.
So I go back, and now my numbers are bad again. Like, they're not good. So, like, my creatinine number, which should be like a 1, which is what they use, right, for like part of your kidney function numbers.
Sure.
Mine was a 14.50. They've said they've never seen numbers that high. Even people that are on dialysis don't have numbers this bad.
Oh my God.
So they put me in a regular room. I'm there for 1 night. I wake up in the morning at 4:30 and I'm blind.
Oh my God.
Total vision loss. Okay. Can't see anything. I'm yelling for the nurse to come in. I said, I can't see. Like, I can't see anything. I said, you need to call my husband because I can't see anything. So they call my husband. My husband comes to the hospital. It's 4:30 in the morning. So now from this point on, okay, what I'm telling you is what was told to me after the fact because I don't remember anything. Okay. So it's being told to me by my husband and my daughter because, well, I'll tell you where I woke up. But in the meantime, the last thing I remember is my husband being called to come to the hospital. I don't remember seeing him there.
Okay.
Okay, I just remember. So now this is what I'm telling you next is what they told me happened. They came to the they came to my room, and I couldn't see. I was confused. Was saying like nonsensical words, like I was totally out of it. Didn't know anything, didn't know my name, didn't know anything. So the doctor orders a CT scan and an MRI of my orbits. Okay, this is like 5 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. So they do the tests, everything comes back okay. So the doctor doesn't show up for 12 hours. He doesn't come till 4:30 in the afternoon. Now, this whole time, I'm laying there blind, don't know anything.
Oh, my God.
So he comes and he pulls my husband aside and he said, her tests are okay. Like, does she have, like, mental problems? What? And my husband's like, no.
Oh, my God.
So he says to me, and I do remember this, he said, how did you call your husband if you're blind? And I said, I had the nurse do it. Like, I do remember him asking me that at, one point. So now they don't know what to do with me because they're saying nothing's wrong with me, but I'm saying that I'm blind.
Yeah.
So the doctor decides he's going to discharge me to my husband. Okay.
What?
So now him and the nurse are getting in an argument in front of my husband and my daughter. The nurse is saying, I don't think she should be discharged. And he's saying, well, I'm discharging her. She says, well, if you discharge her, this is on you.
Yeah.
Okay. It was the emergency room nurse because we were because there was a smell in the room. They smelled something in the room. So they took me out of that room. But supposedly it was because the toilet was backed up from someone before me that was in there.
Oh, boy.
So he decides to discharge me. Now, mind you, I still don't know any of this happened, okay?
Right.
He discharges me to my husband, and he tells me to drive my husband to Philadelphia with me to the Wills Eye Center at Jefferson University Hospital in Philadelphia. Okay. Now, it's like 6 o'clock at night. Okay, so it's getting dark. Now, this is 2 hours from my house, okay?
Yeah.
So now the nurses are trying to get me in the vehicle. I can't follow instructions. They're telling me to lift my leg, to do this, to do that. Can't follow anything. They finally get me in the car. Matt's driving. My daughter's in the back seat. I'm making no sense. I'm out of it. I'm making up words. Nothing's happening. So we finally get there. Oh, and the doctor told him if something happens on the way, Allentown Hospital is there. If something happens, you could pull in there and take her in there if something happens. That's like, okay. So Matt drives me there, gets me in the emergency room at Wills Eye, tells them what's going on. Within like an hour and a half, they had the diagnosis of everything. I had a stroke.
Oh, my God.
I had a seizure. I was severely dehydrated still. I had loss of vision, total loss of vision. I had the ketoacidosis. Everything that I pretty much had at the other hospital, I still had. But now we're going to include the vision loss, the seizure, and the stroke. Which my God. Right. They never did an MRI at my hospital of my whole brain. They only did it of my orbits.
Okay.
So now I'm at Wills Eye in Philadelphia. So I'm kind of like starting to like wake up a little bit. See, like it was dark. I like didn't know where I was.
Okay.
like lights are going off, and like, you know, I'm trying to figure out like where I'm at and like what happened, because now I'm starting to come around a little bit, but I still can't see, but I'm like awake to know what's going on. So I just remember people keep asking me like, what year is it? You know, what is your name? I could not for the life of you tell. Even though in my head, like I knew my name, I couldn't say it. Like I wanted to say it, but nothing would come out. My eyes are open, but total blackness. Can't see anything.
God.
So, you know, they're treating me, whatever. My husband and my daughter had to leave. They had to go home because they couldn't stay there overnight. They came home. So, you know, they were coming in to take, I mean, the nurses, they were fabulous. They were coming in every 10, 15 minutes. You know, they were feeding me. They were, you know, but I couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I know, I can see. It was just like somebody flipped a switch and I could see. And I'm like looking around. Now, this was probably like, it was dark. I remember it being dark. And the nurses, I know this is going to sound so crazy, the nurses looked like not real people. They looked like cartoon characters. Every time I say this, people are like, what? I'm like, they looked like robots. I literally thought that I was like either like somebody had kidnapped me and drugged me, or like I was in like an alternative universe or something, like, because I don't remember anything that happened like the previous time, you know? So like, I don't know where I am. Nobody's, you know,
God.
This is all until like then their faces were so robotic and it was like crazy. Like it was something out of like a movie. I'm not even kidding.
Crazy.
Now the doctors are still trying to figure out now, like they're still trying to figure out why this hospital that I was at, my local hospital, didn't do an MRI for one thing. And
yeah,
they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And, you know, they're like, I don't know what's going on at that hospital, but now I'm at like one of the best hospitals in the country. Thank God. Right?
Yeah.
That was one thing they did right. They sent me to the right place. I'm feeling that they probably should have had my husband drive me there. Mm-hmm. Like they should have sent me by an ambulance or air flighted me there. I mean, if I had another seizure or a stroke in the car, what's Matt going to do? You know?
Yeah.
But I got there. So that was all that mattered, was that I made it there.
Yeah.
So now I have this team of doctors and nurses that are just absolutely incredible.
Oh, great.
So they start to figure it all out and tell me what they think happened. So now before I tell you that, they wanted to do a lumbar puncture in my back to try to get some fluid out of there.
Oh my God.
To make sure that nothing else was
building up.
Was right, that it wasn't something else. Well, they tried to go in there with a needle, and it's a pretty long needle, and I'm chubby, you know, so whew. They tried a few times. They couldn't get it in there, you know.
Oh, Lord. So
they kind of just left that. He said, you know, you can see, you know, you're seeing okay. Your vision is, I mean, my vision was blurry, but I could see. I mean, thank God.
Yeah.
So he said, he said, give me about an hour, I'll be back. He leaves, he comes back, he says, we're not going to do this lumbar thing. There's no use in trying to, you know, then something else happens. He said, we're just going to let it be. So they let that be. So in the meantime, it basically comes down to the fact, and this is what they said happened was, the Monjauro caused my kidney failure.
Okay.
My kidney failure then led to the pancreatitis, all the other, you know, the ketoacidosis, all of that.
Yep.
It caused pressure in the back, in the posterior of my brain from the kidney failure, which in turn caused my vision loss. And there is a name for it. It's called PRES, P-R-E-S.
Okay.
It's posterior reversible encephalitis syndrome or something to that effect.
I think there was somebody that typed it in the chat.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was called encephalopathy.
But that, right.
Okay.
So because I had everything that entails what press is,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they said it was. But it stemmed all from the Monjauro, because before this, I was perfectly fine. My numbers were fine. Everything was fine. Okay, my diabetes type 2 was borderline. Like, I've never, I'm not on insulin. Like,
Yeah.
so, because some people say to me, well, how you're blaming Monjauro? How do you know it was Monjauro? But I had the blood test done.
Right.
I had, Ozempic did not work. Now we have this going on, and it was the only thing that I had changed or done different.
Right.
So it really was that the Monjauro, I mean, I wasn't eating anything, drinking. I couldn't force myself. I couldn't do it. And if I did, I threw it all up.
Yes.
So basically with, the Monjauro caused the kidney failure, which in turn caused everything else. And one of the big things of press is kidney failure. That is what puts you into press, which was caused by the Monjauro.
Yeah.
So now that I had a little seizure in there, so I had to surrender my license for 6 months. Couldn't drive, still can't drive. They put me on Keppra for the seizure, and now I have basically no hair. My hair has been falling out. I have terrible hair loss. And they gave me 1 aspirin a day to take, like a baby aspirin. That was really all they did in Philadelphia. As far as that goes, like new medication. They did take away a lot of my medication that I was taking, like metformin, things that affect your kidney.
Yeah.
They took away from me.
Yes. Metformin I cannot take. So.
Right. So I was in Philadelphia for probably 4 or 5 days, I think. In the meantime, my husband and my daughter came back. They stayed in a hotel for those days. They came every day and stayed with me. But honestly, the doctors really couldn't believe that I didn't die, basically. Like, they were shocked when they asked me if I could see and how I felt, and I said how good I felt. They couldn't believe it, because they said when I came in there, when my husband brought me in there, it was so bad that they really didn't think I was going to make it. From, all stemming from the Monjauro into all the other things that happened after it. Yeah. So.
My goodness.
They were fabulous there. I mean, I can't even say enough good things about it. It's a teaching hospital. It's Jefferson University Hospital, but Will's Eye Center is like attached to that. So they really focus on eye problems. And obviously I was blind, so that's why the doctor sent me there. But I was on the stroke floor. I was on like the 6th floor. Yeah. The doctors were unbelievable. I mean, I can't even tell you how good it was. It was amazing. I can't even say enough good things about it. That's great. And after that, they said, we think you can go home. Like, it was something that I mean, still to this day, I'm traumatized by it, because I think to myself, like, I should be dead, really. I should be dead for how sick I was and what I went through. I mean, it's a miracle that I'm here. It really is a miracle for everything that I went through. And I mean, I'll be forever grateful to them. I mean, I can't, stress it enough how good they were there. And I mean, they sent me home. They didn't think I needed any kind of therapy. I had a really bad back problem before all of this happened. So my back bothers me a lot. I walk with a cane anyways, because I was in the middle of getting an MRI for my back, and then this happened. So I had to put my back on hold. Now I'm dealing with all the Monjauro stuff. So now maybe I can go and get my back taken care of. Now, I went to the neurologist Monday. He said I had to go for an EEG. That came back good. My MRI came back good. He's weaning me off the Keppra. Was taking 1,000 milligrams a day. Now I'm down to 500, so I'll be able to get rid of that. be able to get my license back.
Good.
He's going to fill that paperwork out. So that was good news. But it's just amazing. I can't believe that I could feel that bad and have all of those things happen from a shot. Like it was crazy. Like I still can't believe it. If like I just can't believe it. How sick I was.
I have a similar story. Now, what is happening now? So are you trying to, did you report this to the FDA? Did you fill out any
I did. Well, the only thing I did was I went and I talked to a lawyer that someone recommended me to.
Yes.
And I just got an email back from him yesterday or the day before saying that he thinks, you know, their office talked it over and he thinks I would benefit more from doing a like class action lawsuit with Monjauro. And he gave me the name of another attorney, but I haven't done anything else. I really don't know what else. I mean, you could probably tell me.
I filed a case with Morgan and Morgan, their injury.
Okay.
But they said that my case was not qualified for a class action lawsuit.
Right.
Mine was more of a medical malpractice lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But I got nowhere, except the only place that took my case was the California Medical Board.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a couple of years now. It takes years for anything to move forward. And I'm guessing because there's so many cases in their database that they're working on that it takes so long to get through all these injuries, you know.
Right.
They don't have enough people working on it, especially with the government shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
What happened, people are all backed up.
Mm-hmm.
So how, I didn't ask how long ago this all happened.
I started taking that in August, the Monjauro in like August 12th or 20th or something. I took 4 doses. No, it must have been more towards the beginning of August, because the first time I went to the hospital, it was like September 4th. And then I was there for a week. Then I came home for a couple days then. But I went to Philadelphia on September 14th. So it was like the beginning of August. Like
that was last year.
I only took 4 doses of that. Yeah, it just had like.
Oh, so that's pretty recent. Okay. Yeah, I'll just tell you, it takes a long time, long years for these lawyers to even look at anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just waiting for us to die off or something.
Probably, because you know,
like, you know, let her stew in the background while we take care of multi-million-dollar class action cases.
Right.
Just a one-off. I tried so hard to get a lawyer, and it just wouldn't. Nobody would take my case.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll tell you what happened to me. This was in 2023.
Okay.
I have a binge eating disorder. I eat a lot. I love food. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way about food. It's amazing. It makes me feel good. It's almost an antidepressant for somebody like me, who, you know, I live alone. I'm divorced. I have to take care of myself. And being alone, it's very scary when you have, you know, I have PCOS, I'm diabetic, I have Hashimoto's, you know, I have all these things going on, and I'm terrified sometimes of something happening to me.
Right.
By myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost my job in 2022. I had a full-time amazing job. I lost the job, and they put me on like free health care. And free is exactly what you're paying for is free. So the doctor that I spoke to the first time at this clinic, I'm just going to call it the free clinic.
Okay.
It's for people on welfare, people with financial issues. And this was a nurse practitioner that I had spoken to about a different issue. I won't go into it. It's kind of a private issue. She prescribed the wrong medication. So I already was in a debate with this free clinic. I was already like, this is supposed to be a cream that goes inside of a part of my body, and she prescribed the wrong one. That's not supposed to go inside your body. The topical thing. So I could have poisoned myself. I could have had really bad adverse reactions. So already in my mind, I don't trust this clinic. And they tried to put the blame on me. They said, oh, well, you weren't paying attention when you picked up the prescription. I said, wait, that's not my job.
Right.
My job is to trust the doctor and drive to the store to pick up my prescription.
Right, right.
So that's my job. I did my part, but I read the label and I go, wait a minute, it says for external use only. What? Wait, this is not what So I drove back to the pharmacy and I slammed this on the desk. I said, what the heck is going on? And you should have seen the look on the pharmacist's face. They go, oh my God. And I said, yeah, isn't it also your job to catch this? Right?
Right.
So anyway, I was already writing a lot of letters to this place saying, I want you to write me back with proof on paper that this was your fault. I want you to write me back. And they wouldn't do it. They always skirt around the issue.
Right.
Back. So I never got a definitive, yes, this was our fault, we're sorry. I would not say that. So a week later, I said, I want another doctor. Assign me to a real medical doctor, an MD. I love nurse practitioners, but I really, really wanted to talk to somebody that experienced.
That's what I had, a nurse practitioner. Yep.
So I said, give me an MD. I would love to speak to one. They didn't really have many on staff, but found me one, and we had a long conversation about diabetes. And she said, your A1C is pretty high. It's like, I think it was like 10.5 or something.
Okay.
And I said, okay, insulin, I don't really want to be on any medications. I would rather do this through diet and exercise. And she was kind of like, what? Right. Over the phone. I never met any of these people. Okay? Right. So she says, well, have you heard of Ozempic? And I said, well, I see commercials all the time. I hear celebrities are on it. And this was in 2023. It was gaining momentum. Right. But the drug had already been out for years. At least a decade or more. But they started marketing it to people that wanted to lose weight or this and that. So she said, have you heard of Ozempic? And I said, well, no. I said, well, I haven't tried it, but I've definitely heard of it. And she goes, well, let's try it. And I said, well, okay. I said, I'm willing to try it. It looks like it works for people. I hear good things about it. Let's try it. And then when she told me it was a once a week dose, I started having flashbacks of the Victoza. It was a once a week, thing. And I said, oh, I used to get really nauseous from Victoza. And she goes, oh, yeah, this is going to give you a little bit of nausea, maybe some diarrhea. It's very common, but that'll subside once your body is used to it. And I'm like, all right. Let's give it a go. If it's going to make me, feel better, look better, if it's going to cure everything, let's do it, Right. So she said, okay, let me go ahead and put that prescription into Walmart. And you go pick it up. So I picked it up that very day. I went straight to Walmart, picked it up. And then when the lady was filling the prescription, she looked at me and she goes, have you taken this before? And I said, no. And she says, well, this dosage is very high for a first-time user. And I said, wait a minute. I said, is that okay? And she goes, well, there must have been a good reason why she prescribed this amount for you. Maybe your A1C is really high. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I said, if this is what she wanted me to be on, let's go ahead and fill
Right,
it.
right.
The worst decision of my life. I was like, okay, I took it home. I got scared. I called my mom. I said, Mom, can you come over while I take this injection? I said, I'm kind of scared.
Right.
And I said, once I've clicked it in, it's a week's worth of medication. So
Right.
I'm a little nervous. And she goes,
Right.
okay. So she came over. I did it. And of course I was okay. And then I went to bed, you know, it was okay.
Right.
When I got up in the morning, oh my God, I'm surprised I even woke up at all. And I had to crawl out of bed and crawl to the toilet because I was about to throw up. And I projectile vomited. I mean, we're talking, it went straight. And it was the most I've ever vomited at one time in my whole life. It was like my whole
Right.
body just came out of my mouth. It looked like a movie, like something out of a movie. And it was just all over. And all I could think of was, I have to clean this up, feeling like this. How am I going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So I was more concerned about cleaning it than what was going on with my body. And I went to throw up again, and I passed out on the toilet. I blacked out. My head was on the toilet. My head's inside, you know. And then I woke up, and I'm like, how long was I there? How long was I in the toilet? My head was in the toilet.
Right.
So I started panicking, and I voice commanded my phone to call my mother. Thank God for that. And I still couldn't really see that good. And I said, you need to come over now. Now.
Right.
It's an
Right.
emergency. So she came over, and she brought me like a bunch of water, and she was trying to get me to drink it, but I couldn't. I just kept throwing it up.
Right. Right.
And I felt like I was dying. Like I
Right.
knew I
Right.
was dying, and I was like, this is it. Like I'm dying, and I don't know what to do, you know?
Right.
So my mom says, we're going to go to the hospital. Let's get in the car. And I'm like, okay. And I said, well, like I said, my mind was going all over the place. And all I could think about was I have to take my dog out. My dog needs to go out, because if I go to the hospital, the dog is going to pee all over the house, or, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I live in an apartment, so I have to go down the elevator out to the dog park. And so my mom
Right.
helps me and the dog get out there. And while I'm watching my dog kind of run around, my mom said that I just dropped, like face down into the dirt. She said I was there for about 30 seconds, didn't move. And then my dog came over, and she was licking my face, and I woke up, and I was like, what just happened? She said, you just passed out. You're just on the floor for like 30 seconds. And I was like, oh my God, this is bad. This is really bad. And right then and there, the doctor calls from the free clinic, and they're like, hey, we just wanted to see how you were doing. I said,
Perfect
lady,
timing.
I'm on my way to the hospital because that crap you gave me is killing me. I'm
Right.
dying. I'm going to the hospital. So she said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I said, hey, you need to tell the doctor that this is happening right now. And so they took me to emergency. They took so long to get me in the door. I was
Mm-hmm.
just ready to I was just ready to give up and just go back home and die. Because they, of course, have to get your information, your
Right.
insurance.
Right. Right.
We gotta take your blood pressure. And I'm like, look, this is an emergency. And they're like, okay, well, we need to take your vitals first. Please take a seat, and we'll be with you in a moment. I sat there for probably 20, 30 minutes, and I passed out again while I was in the waiting room. And they didn't even care. And my mom kept screaming, like, she needs help. She needs help. They're like, is she okay now? And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm awake now. But just a minute ago, I was passed out.
Right.
And they're like, well, if you're okay now, then we'll come back in a minute. So
Oh my
they
God.
put me in, I don't know, what do they call it, with a little room where they take your vitals.
Like intake. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the intake place. And
Right.
I'm telling them what's going on. I told them I took Ozempic. And then when I said I took Ozempic, they looked at each other. These two nurses looked at each other like this. And I go, what is that look about? And she's like, well, there's been several people coming in this week about similar things. And I'm like, okay, did they die? Are they alive?
Right, right.
I was like, what happened?
Oh my God.
So she goes, don't worry, we're gonna get you a room, and you're gonna be okay. So they got me in one of those little rooms with the curtain,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just being so nonchalant about everything. And then I pass out again, and this time while I was vomiting, I passed out while I was vomiting. My head goes back, and I'm choking on my vomit. My mom's disabled. She couldn't get to me. She's sitting in the
Mm-hmm.
chair. Mom can't get up. And in the meantime, my mom's trying to climb off the chair, and she falls, and then she literally rolls under the hospital bed.
Oh my God.
So when the nurse comes, she's more concerned with my mother being under the bed than me choking on vomit
Right.
and being unconscious. Okay. So they're trying to pull my mom, and I'm
Crazy.
unconscious. And then I wake up, and then I'm like, what the hell's going on? What's in my throat? My mom's screaming, she's choking, she's choking. And they're like, oh, we didn't see that. So anyway, somebody comes in, and they're like, you're gonna have to stay overnight because you just keep passing out and we don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm telling you, it's Ozempic. And they're like, yeah, but we need to figure out what's causing it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So as they're transferring me into a hospital room, she's hooking me up to the heart monitor. She's, doing
Mm-hmm.
all the things. She walks away for a minute. I pass out again as I'm vomiting into a bag. She comes back and, well, okay, I passed out. I don't know how long at the time. I didn't know how long I was out for. But when she comes back and she looks at the monitor, she turned pale, like really pale, like a ghost. And she said, oh my God, I'll be right back. And I said, what just happened? She goes, I'll be right back. And she's just pale. So basically I flatlined and she was scared to death. She didn't even want to tell me. And so they brought in a bunch of doctors. Like you said, we're surrounded by all these
Right.
people.
Right.
That's what happened to me. And all these people come in and they're like, you're going to the ICU right now. We're transferring you. And I'm like, what happened? Tell me what
Mm-hmm.
happened. They're like, well, you flatlined for about 22 seconds. You were gone. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. Get me to the ICU immediately. So they rushed me over there, and I had a nurse basically sitting by my bed for a whole night. She just sat there staring at me the whole time, and I was not allowed to get out of bed to go to the bathroom or anything because I was a fall risk. So,
Mm-hmm.
she had to come in and put the little pan under my butt anytime I had to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I get to talk to a doctor that came in to explain everything, and he said the Ozempic caused what's called a vasovagal syncope. Um, it's basically your heart stopped, and it happened probably 4 or 5 times today or yesterday or within the
Whatever.
past hour.
Between. Right. Right. Right.
And I said, so my heart's been stopping all day. Well, that's great. uh, so I was in ICU for 2 days, and then they gave me was an anti-nausea medication in my IV,
Mm-hmm.
and it stopped all of those episodes immediately. Stopped it. And so they said that since the Ozempic is going to be in your system for a whole week, unfortunately, you're going to feel really terrible for about a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. So I found out she overdosed me. She gave me basically the 6-month dose and not the starting. So she gave me like 4 times the amount that I should have received. So, of course, I'm thinking, I'm going to be a millionaire after this. I'm going to sue the pants off of everybody.
Right, because isn't what the starting dose is like?
0.25.
Right. And then you go up to like 0.50, right?
Yeah.
Or you double what I remember. Yeah.
Very, very small increments.
Right.
Small increments. And I believe she gave me 2 milligrams. So I was... it was a drug overdose.
Right.
All the things that I was doing, the choking on the vomit, the passing out.
Right.
It was a drug overdose.
Right.
And I had so many nurses come in and say, oh my God, there's somebody else last week had the same thing. And oh my God, they were telling me all these horror stories about all the Ozempic patients that came in. And none of them had as bad as me, but they were very bad side effects, and they were on the correct dose. These people were not an overdose; they were on the right. So, anyway, the doctor came in. He said, "You can resume Ozempic as soon as you get out of the hospital." And I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Yeah, we'll put you on the right dose. You can continue taking it." And I go, "I don't want to. What are you talking about?" I said, "What if this was actually an adverse reaction? You can't you can't prove that."
Right.
And he's like, "Well, it's going to help your diabetes." I said, "There's other things that I can take to help my diabetes. Not it.
I'd like to be alive would be,
I would like to live."
Yeah, right.
I said, "Go ahead and put me on insulin. I don't care. That seems like the safer option at this point."
Right.
And so he's like, "No, it's okay. We could put you back on it. It's excellent. It's excellent." And I'm like, "No." This guy was nuts. So the cardiologist came in. Guess what he had a conversation with me about? Getting a pacemaker. He's like, "We might have to put in a pacemaker."
Me too.
What?
Yeah. They sent me home with one of those MCOT. It was like an MCOT thing, right?
Yeah, it was called a Zeopat.
Yeah, mine was like an MCOT by Philips, makes them or whatever, and I had to wear it for a month. Yeah, I forgot about that now until you're just saying that. Yeah.
I had the patch. And so he told me that I had temporary brain damage from passing out and flatlining that many times. He said my brain damage would last about 2 years and it would heal itself.
Right.
But my memory was really bad and my brain fog was awful.
Memory too. What you're saying is a lot of the same stuff. I'm like, my memory used to be on point.
Yeah, me too.
And even my spelling was on point. Now it's like I'm forgetful.
Yep.
I have to think for a few minutes before I spell a word.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Same thing, and it's not just my age because it would seem like right after that incident, I haven't been the same. My brain has not been the same.
That's how I feel.
Not the same.
Yep. I feel I was so sharp.
Yep.
Like my husband would tell me he had a doctor's appointment at 11 o'clock on next Wednesday. I would remember it. Now I have to ask 2-3 times.
Yep. I have to write.
And he's like, "I told you that yesterday." I go, "I know, hon, but I can't remember." Yep. So I notice it.
I know. And so the cardiologist was the only person that was realistic about everything. He, said, "I want to be able to see you ongoing just to make sure your heart's okay." Because your heart did stop 4 to 5 times yesterday. So we want to make sure that you're going to be in top shape. You know what I mean? Tip-top shape. I can't say anything. I can't even remember words. It's just, I get stuck. But He was a great guy. He was the only guy I trusted at the whole thing.
Right.
And so they let me go. I was there for 3 days. They let me out. I couldn't really walk. I mean, my legs felt like
Right.
jello.
Right.
I had to use a cane or a walker
Yep.
to get around for a while. 2 days after I came out of the hospital, my mom fell and broke her femur.
Oh my God.
So I had to take care of her while I was
Mm-hmm.
still recovering. And that actually got me back on my feet very quickly because I had to take care of her. She had to go into a nursing home. I'm an only child. I had to basically become an adult very quickly back on my feet.
Right.
But I was still unemployed. I was still trying to figure out, like, I need a job, but I can't even interview because my brain is not all.
Right.
And I thought, if I'm in an interview and they ask me like a question, I feel like I'm gonna choke and just say, "Oh,
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't remember where I worked
Mm-hmm.
last year," you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot of anxiety stemming from
From that. Right.
it just, and then the trauma, the the flashbacks of everything. It just, when you were telling your story about what happened to you, I started feeling it all over again. I started getting like worried. I'm like, oh God, you know.
Right.
Um, the feeling that
Yeah.
when you go blind, how you feel like this is it, like I'm dying.
Right. You know, but even now to this day, like every day I think about it, like every day,
Yeah,
you
it'll
know,
get better.
and yeah,
It'll
and then
get
like
better.
I feel like at night, like I'm like every night I lay in bed and I just, you know, you're laying there trying to sleep and it just like creeps up on me like every night, you know, like I replay the whole story in my head, like, you know, how the start to the ending, you know.
Yep, it goes through. For about a year and a half, I would do that, but then when I got a job and I was back into my routine, I forgot about it. Anyway, I filed all these complaints, but I never heard anything back. Nothing back, nothing, not even a phone call. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Nothing. I guess it just got filed away in their
Mm-hmm.
complaint box. I am just now a statistic in their, in their.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a statistic now.
And you're alive, so.
And I'm alive.
I mean, you know, that's their thinking. Well, she's alive. You know what I mean?
Did you
Like,
die? But did you die? No,
right.
but
Like,
so
I mean,
yeah.
that's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's why I have to, when I see these Facebook posts and what I try to not comment because then I get into it with people, but you know, I do put a few comments here and there just because if I figure if one person thinks about it,
Yeah.
maybe it's not worth it, you know. All right, listen, thanks for having me on. I
So
appreciate it. I'm glad we're still around.
we're still here.
We're still here.
Thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate your patience and the time that you spent with me today and Kristen to hear our story. Obviously, we're still traumatized by everything that happened to us. My viewpoints on these drugs have changed quite a bit. As I mentioned, I was a very mad, angry person in the past when the incident first happened with Ozempic. I was just angry. I wanted to, set the world on fire. And, now that I've talked to more people, I do understand that people do need this medication. I get it. But there are definitely alternatives. That's why my Instagram channel exists, because I believe that low carb, carnivore, these types of diets, fasting, I feel like all these things definitely have helped me maintain my weight. I haven't lost much weight, but I used to be a lot bigger. I used to be maybe 30 pounds, 40 pounds bigger than I am now. Little tweaks that I've done to my lifestyle has really helped. I started doing low carb, and then eventually I was like strict non-processed, just meat and vegetables gal. I did strict carnivore for a while, for like 9 months, just meat. I need to start figuring out what's going to work for me. I'm falling off the wagon, you guys. Don't worry. You have support. You have support. That's the best part.